So we're both nice and freshly cut for this episode of the podcast.
Yeah, well,
You got the beard trim, I got the hair trim.
But you know what's funny is we're going two different directions because
Yeah.
you're trying to grow the beard.
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna talk about that later.
Are you trying to grow your hair?
Yeah, I am. I'm growing my hair and I'm trimming back the beard. Yeah, going for that. And you're trying to grow a beard,
Yeah.
and that's some of our 2020 topics that we're gonna be on today.
Yeah.
Okay, which is
Guess
crazy
we're
to
in it.
think, though.
What, the 2020 is right up on us?
Yeah, I mean, we got what this week. Next week is Christmas. Then we've got the New Year, which pops first is on a Wednesday, a week after Christmas. So 2019 is almost officially
Wrapping
done.
up the decade. Is it a decade?
Yeah.
Yeah, decade's wrapping up.
That is reflection. What happened during this decade?
Well,
2010 to 2019. When did you
Gosh,
graduate?
I graduated in this year, so 2019.
You graduated this year
Yeah.
in May
Mhm.
of 2019. So you barely made this decade
Yeah.
graduation year.
Well, let's see. So in 2010, was I even in middle school yet?
So
No.
nothing real
No.
eventful for you in this one.
No.
I would have
mean,
been, let's see, 18 and so I was 25 when this decade started, and now I'm 35.
Was 9.
Oh God. So 2 different perspectives on anything we talk about for sure.
Yeah.
A way different time frame both these minds have come from. So
This decade, let's see, big things. Marvel. That was this decade for me. The Marvel movies.
that's the biggest thing for you this decade.
I mean,
they did.
It was starting.
set
It was
a trend.
picking up.
Yeah.
In 2010, and it ended this year with Endgame.
You know,
this part.
I think it's funny that we always kind of talk about some sort of movie,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
mean-
not really. I'm really not a big time movie goer.
I love movies.
I do like movies.
Love cinema.
but I haven't been to the movie theaters, but probably once in like
Mm.
2 years.
I usually save it. If I'm going to the movies, it's going to be a movie that I really want to see. And usually I'm always satisfied. Because if I go to the movie theaters, usually I get annoyed with people,
Yeah.
other people around me. So it has to be a movie I really want to see. Other than that, I'll wait. But I do like movies.
What have you ever been to the movies on like Christmas Day?
No, that sounds terrible.
No.
Well, I guess it wouldn't be because there would be no one there.
Well, that's kind of a popular tradition now. So it's but a lot of movies get released now on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I think this year Adam Sandler has one coming out called The
Because they're
Gems.
Christmas movies. Actually,
No,
do.
this
No?
is not a Christmas movie.
No.
This is called like I'd have to look it up. It's called something Gems, Fighting Jim or Broken Jim, but Gemstone, like on a ring or something. I don't know. I've seen it. I've seen the highlights a couple times, and I think he bets money on games and tries to set them up and win money. I don't know. But it's coming out either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So usually there's a movie that comes out right around Christmas.
Favorite Christmas movie? Go.
Oh, that's a good one. I like the corny Christmas movies, probably the classics. Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
I've never seen that.
Oh my gosh.
I guess
See,
I'm
and that's a point right there. 2 different decades.
How old is that movie?
Oh, I'm going to look it up now that you asked the
Yeah.
question, but that's from at least the 80s.
National Lampoon's Christmas.
They have a ton of stuff. The vacation movies,
Yeah.
And then I do like The Grinch with Jim
Grinch
Carrey.
is good. That is a good movie. I used to watch that a lot as a kid. I mean, that's a classic. That always will be.
Well, I wonder when that came out because that would have been more.
Grinch? I want to say like 2005, 2006.
Actually, you know what? I feel like I was in high school.
When you were in high school?
And I graduated 2003, so I'm going to look that up too. This was actually 1989, National Lampoon's Christmas
National
Vacation. So that's when I'm growing up. And see, they're even out at movie theaters like Wednesday. One of those, we're going to show some Christmas movies, get into the spirit. But Christmas Vacation, The Grinch is.
Oh, God.
What about you? I mean, what's your go-to there?
Oh, Die Hard. And we talked about this earlier. I watched Die Hard last night. That movie. And it's not
So wait, I
technically-
mean, some people argue about this. Is that really a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie in
Come
the same
on.
way Home Alone is a Christmas movie. It takes place on Christmas Eve.
The Grinch was
So-
out in 2000. So
2000.
yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
thought
So
it
a
was
little
in
bit
high.
earlier.
I remember in high school going to the movies to see that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that movie's older than I am.
Yeah. Well,
I-
so that's a classic for
thought
you.
it came out when I was a kid.
What year? When were you born?
2001?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's older than you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's trippy.
So what do you think? Like movies like Die Hard and Home Alone are Christmas movies? A lot of people watch Home Alone. A lot of people watch both of them on Christmas.
I've always considered Home Alone a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I've never considered Die Hard
No.
a Christmas movie.
But they're like singing Christmas
so,
movies the whole
so
time.
limited though. But the whole
The
time is
movie-
action.
The movie ends with the credits roll with a Christmas song. It's a
Okay.
Christmas movie. The whole plot of the movie is driven by the fact that he goes to a Christmas party.
That's the setting, but it's not. It has nothing. There's no Christmas spirit. There's no. I guess. I mean, this is a good argument. Maybe this is something we need to post about. Is Die Hard
I mean,
a Christmas movie? I've
Well,
seen this debate before.
look at the
though.
spirit of Christmas movies. It's something you watch around the holidays. I think a lot of people
That's
do
true.
watch Die Hard
That's true.
around the holidays. It's a movie that takes place
So,
on Christmas Eve.
The movie itself might not be as Christmas driven, but it's definitely something brought up
Yeah.
around this time. So it
Yeah.
might be a tradition part of other people's Christmas time.
Totally.
So. Okay. Would you watch the movie outside of Christmas, like in the summertime?
Die Hard?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, so that's what I'm kind of getting at. Like, I don't watch The Grinch in the summer.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. Okay. Moving forward, because
Yeah.
again, a rant to start every
Always
time.
start with a movie.
Has
rant.
nothing to do, honestly. Yeah, always about a movie of some sort, and this case is no different.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about, it has a lot to do with Christmas still, and also has a lot to do with 2020, really.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't started thinking about your New Year's plans, we refrain from calling them resolutions, I think. But it is a great time to start over if you just had a crappy 2019, right?
Well, I think we talked about resolutions 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
this is a little bit different. You know, resolutions we're talking about kind of changing something in our lives, for the better. Whereas now we're
Like-
talking about goals,
Yeah.
which is something you want to accomplish.
Right, over the course of the year. It's not like, okay, I'm going to eat paleo and you're 3 weeks in. This is like the ultimate, like the goal for the year, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we want to dive into. And we're also going to talk about some stuff that we found that works for us to maintain some of these goals. Products they might be that you can get online, or apps that you can use to stay moving the course, and stick with whatever those goals that you have. So, Gary, you want to start us off with a goal that you've got in 2020?
Well, I think this is one for both of us, and I guess it's a little more general for you. Is read more books, and we're not really talking about Harry Potter and the Hunger Games.
Some of us might be.
Yeah, I guess it could be, but I think for us, it's a little more self-development books. And
Let me stop you right there. Is Harry Potter, the Hunger Games, these fictional books, do you see value in those?
I think 100% actually. Yeah, I mean, reading is something that everyone should be doing, whether it's for pleasure or
It's a skill, though, right? I mean,
it's a skill like anything else, and I think reading makes you smarter. I have no
Right.
scientific backing behind that, but I've heard it over and over again. It engages a part of your brain that isn't really active in other everyday life.
You're right. So, as a history major, like I'm a terrible reader, and I noticed, like I had to, pretty much all I had to do in history was read and write, research, write, read. So I had to learn to get better at it, and it was just practice. And of course, if you're reading more, whether you agree with the topic or subject, you can always learn something. And I did read. I've never been big into fictional stuff, but I have read. I think I've read one of the Hunger Games, maybe the first one. And you know what? I think you still maybe the way it's presented, the way it can be written down on paper, you learn something from that. You do, even though it was fictional. It didn't. To me, though, I'm like a history guy. Like I want to know the facts or dive into it. So it was hard for me to get into that, but I still felt like I was a better reader for doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I used to be a huge, like when I was in elementary school and even early middle school, I loved reading fiction books. I read all the Harry Potter books when I was in elementary school and like, read the Hunger Games books. I was a nerd, right? But eventually it got to the point where I stopped caring about fiction
reading?
books.
Oh,
about fiction books. And I guess reading in general, I kind of stopped reading as I got into high school. And I always, retain that skill of being able to read really well.
Right.
But fiction itself just became less and less interesting to me as I grew up and I started to enjoy, movies and cinema more. Going back to the movie discussion, but for me now, it's I want to read from people who know what they're talking about. I want to learn from other people, and I think that's a big thing about books.
I think that's popular right now.
Yeah,
though, too.
and while we said fiction books, in a way that they make you smarter. This is a general term, but when you're reading books that are written by people who are experts in their field and know what they're talking about, they essentially become sort of a teacher and a mentor for you through the book.
That's I think going through college and somewhat in high school. I think high school is subpar education for the most part. You can fake your way through that, but I think once you get to like the next level, certification or college, like. There is definitely some books out there from the professionals that are very educational. And like you said, I mean, to me, though, I always read anything with a mindset of, like, I may not agree or disagree, but there's always something to learn in there. And whether that's to develop more on your theory or maybe start to change your theory on something. So, some people can be kind of self-proclaimed professionals, but it's their opinion. It might be their experience, which might be unique to you or not to you. But why do they think the way they do? And now I don't look at a whole lot of fictional books because I'm still not a great reader, and I actually do Audible books. Yeah, I listen to mine. I'm in the car quite a bit sometimes, and that gives me a chance to just listen. And that's the one way that I get more books under my belt, I guess.
I think that's an extremely viable way for someone who doesn't have a whole lot of time to sit down and read, which but me personally, I do like to read my books. I feel more engaged in what I'm trying to learn or read, but I mean, it varies from person to person, 100%.
What 2020, what's a goal for you in this regard? Like, you're talking about reading. Obviously, you got a goal.
So mine is 50 books. That's my goal. And
50
I started out a little ambitious with 100.
What's that breakdown?
I mean, originally what I want to do is 100. That's 2 books a week.
Yeah, okay, but this is 4 books a month, and you got to have a month or 2 with an extra one. So you're talking about a week a book.
Yeah, and it's totally doable for me. And we talked about this last episode about starting. Today I've already started reading a few books.
Getting ahead.
And in the past week I've finished a book and already started a new one with a few days where I wasn't reading at all. So it's totally doable. But I mean, book a week. There might be a few weeks where I'm not able to read books and I have to catch up. But it's something that I want to introduce into my daily routine, so it doesn't have to be something I think about. It's automatic.
So this is where we're 2 different people, and I like that about this podcast. But I know 50 books isn't in my, just with the lifestyle, running a business, and it takes priority. Like, you've got to put that out there, and I'm not saying that's great. I go for it because you're going to be a better person for it. I'm putting out there 12 books this year in 2020. That's 1 a month. And I'm still probably going to stick with the Audible. I might try to get my hands on a paperback, copy 1 or 2. But for the most part, I've got my Audible account. You can download them quick, and you can put your headphones on, put them in the car, and I think that's more manageable. Even if I fall behind a little bit, have a bad week or 2, I think 12 reads isn't. Even if I fall behind, isn't going to be something I can't catch back up to, obviously. So, considering I probably did 2 or 3 this year, which again, somebody that's a reader, that they're probably laughing at me, but I used to not get any books in at all, when I wasn't in college. And so 2 or 3 was, I was like, all right, I did something this year. But I really want it to be more of a priority. And 12 would be an all-time high for me. So I'm going to utilize Audible for that. And what's some reads that are these reads that you've already done or looking to do?
A little bit of both. There's a few that I've read and gotten to a little bit, but a lot of these are ones that I do want to read that are books that have been recommended to me multiple times, that I've seen on the internet going around like, you got to read this book. And a few of these, I think, not only do they help me achieve my goal of getting 50 books, but they're self-development in that they'll help me achieve my other goals, and that's what I'm really searching for here. Right,
looking for answers.
A few of mine, a few of the books on habit that I've seen and have been recommended to me are Atomic Habits by James Clear and The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
You haven't read those yet?
No, but those are on my short list for sure.
And actually, Atomic Habits on my short list.
Atomic Habits is going to be the next one I read. Other ones we got Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. It's basically the story of a guy and the lessons he learned from having his dad, his biological dad, who was a very poor man who he grew up with, and then his friend's dad, who kind of became his mentor, who was rich, and the different habits that his poor dad had versus his rich dad. It's a financial book. I've heard it's a good one. It's like one of the #1 financial books of all time. It's a shorter read, but it's a good one.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Grit by Angela Duckworth. It's a book about grit and mindset, which is always good. The one I'm reading now currently, which I recommend, it's kind of more interesting rather than a self-development, but it is something that I kind of want to learn, is What Everybody Is Saying. It's an ex-FBI, Joe Navarro.
That's the name of it?
What Everybody Is Saying.
What Everybody Is Saying.
By Joe Navarro. He was an ex-FBI agent, and essentially it's a book on body language and being able to read people.
Okay.
And not really in the malicious sense. During conversation, reading people and understanding someone else's body language, it's important in communication. Yeah, he fell asleep right now, so he must be bored of what I'm saying.
Did you get my body language?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I
was seeing if the book worked.
Well, I just started it this morning.
Okay.
But in a day and age like this, where we're always online and texting people, and we as humans are starting to more slowly
lose a skill like that.
Lose that skill, because it's something you have to develop by talking to people. And then the last two are Waking Up by Sam Harris and Mindfulness in Plain English, which are both meditation books, and that's another goal of mine that we'll probably get into a little bit later. But
Waking Up with Sam Harris.
Waking Up by Sam Harris. Mindfulness in Plain English. Okay. 2 meditation books, which I want to read.
So you started one. Those are all on your list, part of your 50. I'm sure you don't have the full 50
list.
That's
going to be part of the challenge is finding 50 books I want to read.
I like these self-help books, and I know a lot of people are doing it, or self-improvement, I guess.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are doing it out there, and you can kind of be like, well, how many times can you say get up and do it, better than the last person? But I think it's not so much about that. I think it's a perspective thing. And certain people go through different life lessons. They're at a different age in their life. They lived in a different neighborhood. They went through society from a different perspective. And there are people that can benefit from this self-improvement book to that one. I've got a couple, and these are ones I've actually have read or listened to, okay? Because, again, I'm an Audible guy. 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. She actually self-reads her books, too, on Audible, and I really enjoyed a lot of what she had to do. And so I mentioned this book to you, and go ahead and ask me the question that you have for me.
I asked, is that based on the idea of the 5-second rule, which we all know it as, is if you drop your food and you pick it up for before 5 seconds is over, it's
you're
good.
Asking me if a woman wrote a book based on the theory to pick up a piece of meat off the ground in 5 seconds or less.
It could have been a revolutionary moment in her mind where she dropped a piece of food and she was like, holy crap, 5 seconds, I'm going to write a book about this.
You know what? I don't remember catching that in this, and it's been a little while. This wasn't one I read this last year. This is something I read the year before, and I do have a terrible memory. So I actually am really considering this being one of my 12 books this year to reread it.
Oh yeah.
But so the 5-second rule is basically you have this like your brain is working for you. And so if you have an idea to do something, just react. And so like in theory, she talked about you're walking, down the street, you got your ice cream cone, you just left McDonald's, you got your shopping bags, and you're walking past the store, and then you look through the window and it's a gym. And you're like, I should go in there. That's your initial thought. Yeah. And she's saying basically you should react on that. That's the thought that will serve you the best. Mm-hmm. And it's like you wake up, and her big thing too was like how you wake up in the morning. And I think this is something I've heard in a lot of different self-help or self-improvement books is how you wake up in the morning. It's very important to not hit the snooze. And she even talks about the actual negatives to hitting a snooze for your brain and for the process of waking up. And she dives into that whole thing in this 5-second rule, how negative it is. You actually restart the falling asleep process, which of course in 10 minutes you're not going to do. And now that's why a lot of people wake up and they don't feel like they're waking up for the first 4 hours of their day. But anyway, you see the dishes on the sink and they need to get done. And then you're like, I'll get them in a minute. Or, I'll do that when I start doing the yard or something like that. And the point is, when you think that you need to do the dishes, just go do them. And you're going to get it done. It's off your plate. And it's going to cause a domino effect of how you can get other things done in that time because you're not wasting time thinking about what you're not doing. And so the 5-second rule is really just about when you think it, you go and do it. And I love this book a ton. I actually have a second one on here, and it's not so much a book as it is an Audible special called Kick Ass by Mel Robbins. And she actually sits in front of people on how the 10 or 5-second rule helped them. But, man, it dives deep to people that were right on the edge of just stopping life. Yeah. And then they dove into this book and tried it, and it changed their life forever.
I think that's going to be one I pick up because I'm notoriously bad at procrastinating.
Oh,
I think that's what this book kind of targets, people who procrastinate.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at that.
I think everybody's got a weak spot for it or can, and it depends on how their day goes, but she's like, it's so crazy that you just apply this all right, I need to wake up 5, and she talks 5, 4, 3, and wake up, and you go. Mm-hmm. Don't think about it anymore, and then you're awake. And if you sit there and hit snooze, and all you're doing is thinking about how tired you are. And like I said, if you think you need to go on a run, count down from 5 and get after it. And it's just you're gonna have so much more time to do so many other things because now you're getting stuff done when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Another book that I read was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Blank.
That actually is one that I do want to read. I have it on my iTunes to read list. So
this was by Roger Wayne. I don't necessarily, and I wouldn't say I agree with everything that Mel Robbins might put out there. And this is, I think, as a person, you should find out what motivates you and moves you. Mm-hmm. And you should also learn. This is a good one, I think, if you are, again, kind of stuck in life. Mm-hmm. And, there's certain things that you can control and certain things you can't control. And so I don't agree with everything that's in there, but I don't know if anybody should 100% agree with everything they ever read or see either. So this was another one that I really enjoyed. So, again, I'm an Audible guy. I listen to these, and those would be probably 3 that I would suggest. Now, I don't have my list of what I'm going to read this year. I do have it a couple already in Audible. Atomic Habits is one of them. Yeah. I have some marketing books as well that I'm going to read, just being a business owner. So those would be 3 that I would suggest as far as reading more and educating yourself on.
No, I totally agree on. I'm going to read the 5-second rule, and then The Subtle Art. That's the one that I've seen recommended over and over again.
Yeah,
it's
very popular.
Essentially a must-read for anyone who's into self-development books.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna hop off onto a break real quick, and when we come back, we've got some more tips and potential products or apps that you can use to better your 2020. So we'll be right back.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning into the Olympian Project. Just a quick reminder that we are on iTunes, Spotify, and on YouTube in video format, as well as the Wednesday WOD. First episode just went up last week, so if you're interested, go check that out. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode.
So next, we're going to talk about some of our health and fitness goals for 2020.
Well, were we going to do the meditation and yoga first?
That is part of health and fitness.
Okay, yeah.
What do you consider those things?
Yoga for sure. For me, and we're gonna dive into.
Mental health.
Kind of, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mental health and fitness. To me, as a gym owner and passionate about CrossFit, but just health and fitness in general, mental health. I tell everybody it starts right there, like getting your mind wrapped around the push. And I also have seen it help so many people in a bad spot mentally that, to me, they're not separated whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, mind, body all go together to me. So
for us, it's kind of two sides of the same coin. You have a focus on yoga this year, while me it's more meditation. So what is your yoga goal for this year?
So like mobility, I'm a little bit older. I'm 35 this year. Been doing CrossFit for 8 years, and CrossFit's great. I still want to continue down that path. I just need more mobility. I need more range of motion. And I need more recovery. And something I've been diving into more and more is yoga. Now, I use ROMWOD, which is kind of a CrossFitter's yoga. Or really, if you don't have a yoga class to go to and you work out at a high intensity, it doesn't have to be just CrossFit, I guess. But it's a yoga that's I don't think it's the same flow. I've taken a yoga class or two, and it's not quite the same, but it does have some of the poses. So I'm going to look to shoot for about 5 days a week minimum of doing yoga. Now, this yoga is about
the ROMWOD video?
Right now, yeah. And we actually have a client that is getting her certification, Brandy. We've mentioned her before. But she's getting her certification for yoga, and we are planning on kind of creating a little more yoga culture in the gym. And so that's something that should fit right in with everything else that we do. So, yeah, and ROMWOD's usually around 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes of yoga. So it's not a terrible amount.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I'm terrible. My mobility is terrible. I've never really had to use yoga for recovery. I'm 18 years old. I never have a problem with that. But yeah, for me.
Well, that's not true though. Let's go back. Your overhead has gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
you had terrible amount or no mobility starting out overhead.
Yeah,
so that's gotten better now.
Which for me that's just been active warm up stretching.
Yeah.
So you got your yoga, and I have my meditation, which is something that I've been doing more and more, and it's something I've always been kind of interested in, and I've done here and there, but lately really is when I've really gotten into it.
Meditation, what are you using? Like, how do you get into meditation, and what? Like, I wouldn't even know where to start.
So, and this is something that it's a very big subject for me, and something I'm kind of passionate about now, and it's something I want to go into more into a later episode, hopefully down the road. But essentially, it's mindfulness meditation, and the process of acknowledging that you are thinking, So, and it's something I've gotten into because, it's something I've seen.
So you need a lot of meditation.
Yes.
So you remember to think.
Yeah, it's no well. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but so my goal is 10,000 minutes of meditation.
Okay, how are you tracking
that? Through an app, and we talked about the book "Waking Up" by Sam Harris, which is a book on meditation. Okay. He has an app which I've been using, and it tells you how many minutes you meditated.
What's the name of the app? I'm kind of curious.
Waking Up.
Oh,
same name as the book.
Oh, okay. Just waking up.
Yeah, and the great thing about the app it's a full guided meditation course. It's $14 a month, which for me I think that's worth it.
Okay.
But it has like a 50-day course. You do one meditation a day, and slowly you start to work your way into the inner workings of meditation.
So on the app though, it it kind of walks you step by step, or is it talking to you?
Well, yeah. So me, I put my headphones in, and I'm on like day 32 now.
Oh, really?
So you put your headphones in, and he'll say, okay, he'll walk you through the meditation. He'll explain to you what you should be doing, what you should be focusing on, anything you should be noticing in your body. And as the course goes on, it slowly introduces you to more and more techniques. So I have about 460 minutes now, since I've been doing it a few weeks.
And you're going for 10,000?
10,000 next year, and I've done the math, and it's 30 minutes a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
30 minutes a day.
Which doesn't. It sounds like a lot, sitting down and just.
Well, in today's world, yeah.
Yeah, we're so diluted with our focus. But I've had days where I've meditated for 40 minutes.
What have you noticed meditating? Like, what's the biggest change? Is there a change? Do you think you need more time? Like, what's your goal? You want to do meditation. What's your goal to get out of the meditation?
Well, and this is why I'm so passionate about meditation. I've slowly started to integrate it more and more into my life, is because I think the benefits are universal for anybody in whatever career, job you're in, your mother, a father. And I think it's a big thing, again, I want to bring up, because it is a big thing about the Olympian project, is being good in whatever you are. And I think meditation is a big part of that, because essentially, and you asked what I want to get out of it,
right.
And what I have gotten out of it, being able to understand when you are not focused, and being able to turn that switch on and say, okay, I'm focused, I'm aware, and I'm present right now. The benefits to that are just.
See, that's
unreal.
what I think. Like, if you were trying to sell somebody on meditation, right, and maybe our listeners are looking for that something, right, whatever it is, and why they would want to go to meditation, your sales pitch would be like being able to harness the focus, right? And I think a lot of us, even if they don't know it, or a lot of us, we don't know that we're so unfocused, or there's so many things going on in our life, that you're saying like meditation can really help you.
Yeah. And
zone in.
And it's something that if you take up meditation, you realize instantly, like the first time you ever start meditating, you'll realize that your brain is constantly distracted. You're thinking about the most random crap constantly. And you never realize it.
What'd you say? Oh, I was thinking. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, your brain is constantly distracted by thoughts that you don't even realize are popping in your head until you take the time to sit day by day and acknowledge.
It seems a little scary though. Like, I don't know if I want to know what's going on in my head, and then I got to sit there and like think about it. Yeah. I feel like that causes me a little bit of anxiety, to be honest.
That's the thing, is it's not when you're meditating and you realize, okay, I'm thinking about something random. I'm thinking about what I ate for dinner last week. You just kind of let it go, and you bring yourself back to your breath, But
you get better at this, right?
You get better at it, and
practice.
It's something I've noticed I started doing just in conversations with people. I'll say, okay, I'm thinking about something random. Let's bring myself back to where I am right now.
So you're gaining some more control.
Yeah, it's. And again, that's a topic that I want to dive into more in a later episode,
maybe a full episode, because it sounds like a lot of pieces to that.
Yeah. And that'll probably be after I read more books and become more educated on the topic. But
I feel like that 1 week you weren't meditating.
Last week?
Was it last week?
There was a week where I was pretty out.
You didn't even know it was Monday, I don't think.
No.
That meditation might have thrown you off.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so yoga and meditation always kind of seem to go together.
Yeah, and I think for you, and they kind of, I think meditation goes with yoga more than yoga goes with meditation. I think if you're trying to dedicatedly practice meditation.
Motivation. That might be coin that. Guys, we've got a new thing we're doing here at the Olympian Project. It's called Motivation, where we're going to motivate you in meditation.
Yes.
So it's like we're cheering you on.
Motivation meditation.
We're going to motivate you while you meditate. So I'm going to be like yelling at you while you meditate.
Yeah.
Meditate more.
Yeah.
I think do it better.
If you are dedicatedly trying to practice meditation, you probably shouldn't be doing yoga, but it's a great thing to do while you're doing yoga,
I find that at first when I was diving into yoga, and I'm only 2 weeks in to my experience, but I would hold on to my phone. I would keep it around. I'd answer some text messages, look at Facebook messages or whatever. And it was not as enjoyable as if I just put the phone off to the side and was able to. I don't practice meditation, but it was kind of a relaxing of the mind while I was stretching, and I was also focusing more on my stretching too. So I know I thought I wanted to get two things done at once, and realized it wasn't. It was not enjoyable with the phone. Get rid of the phone. Yeah. Focus on what you're doing.
So what I recommend, and I'm not a meditation coach or anything, but while you're meditating, while you're doing yoga, maybe try to just focus on whatever part of the body you're stretching. So if you're stretching your calf, maybe focus in on that part of your body. And that's a big part of meditation, is not just focusing on the breath, but whatever you feel in your body. If you feel like a tingle or a scratch or an itch, you focus on it. So maybe that'll be something you practice in your yoga, just occasionally here and there.
Yeah. Okay. So meditation into my yoga. I want to do more yoga. You want to do more meditation. Yeah. Maybe we just need to come together and meditate in yoga. Yogies. Yogatate. Is that anything?
Moga. Metagoat.
Metagoat in a field with a yoga. So we're talking a bunch of rambling nonsense, and okay, so yoga, mental health, physical health with the meditation with the mental health, yoga with the physical. But of course, I think they both go hand in hand.
For sure.
I think if you can focus yourself on whatever you're doing, can lead into a lot more success, whatever you're trying to be better at. And there was a couple of things as far as fitness this year. I wanted to talk about. We've got a little time before Christmas hits. And maybe you're shopping for yourself. Maybe you're shopping for a loved one. Maybe you got a friend. You need a gift, and they may be diving into their health and fitness for the first time in 2020. And this is kind of just off the top. Like, what gifts out there would be appropriate for somebody like that, or somebody who's been doing a fitness program for a while? There are good products out there, and then there are, people just trying to make a buck. So did you have anything that you would want to give somebody or get for this last minute? This would be a last minute shopping trip. Yeah. But Amazon makes that possible because you can get it like tomorrow, basically. Anything off the top of your head that, to help, what I'm saying? Like, some people are like, what do I go with the gym? How am I going to maintain going to the gym? How am I going to get better at this or that? There's usually little products that can help.
I have no physical products. I think we talked about, you talked about ROMWOD being a program you're going to use. Right. For me, and I have my goals that we talked about earlier, but I also have a long list of fitness goals. And one of those goals is to gain a few pounds, because I'm a little skinny. So I want to hit 170 pounds. But to use that, big one is MyFitnessPal.
MyFitnessPal.
And I'm sure a lot of people have used
the Under Armour app.
Yeah, it's an amazing app. It allows you to track all your macros,
really is.
And calorie intake and all that. It's a great place to just monitor your nutrition and your weight. You can pay for a premium version if that's something you want to do and it's something you really want to attack. But for me, I think MyFitnessPal is an amazing app for anyone who's either trying to gain weight or lose weight, or just monitor their diet.
Yeah, and that was MyFitnessPal. We've had a lot of clients use that, and I don't think you have to be somebody that's like this professional athlete counting your macros. Like, you can use MyFitnessPal for a lot of different things. Just keeping track of your food. I get a lot of athletes that are like, I made a lot of strides when I first got here, and I've kind of hit this plateau. And I'm like, download MyFitnessPal. I actually want you to go backwards. I want you to fill in your whole last week. And then I'm going to show you, some of the reasons why maybe you're not moving forward anymore. So I've used it before with clients. I've used the app myself. I'm personally not somebody that's really good with those things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm terrible with it.
Right. So with MyFitnessPal, though, you can scan items that you're about to eat. Yeah. If you're, or you can go to restaurants. It'll tell you you're at that location. They have the menu on MyFitnessPal. So it makes it as simple as possible. So if you're looking to get into health and fitness in 2020 and you're like, diet's going to be the hardest part, I'm right there with you. I definitely suggest the MyFitnessPal.
100%.
Of course, Ramwa, we talked about that, ramwa.com. Those are pretty, like, they have day-to-day programs on there if you're trying to get better mobility and recovery. Something that I wanted to talk about, and we've had a couple clients, jump ropes and CrossFit are always a hot topic item because I got to get my own rope and, what do I get? And oddly enough, a product that I found on Amazon.com, of course, was this brand called 5 Billion, the speed jump rope. And we actually outfitted our gym. Gary, you were actually the one measuring all those jump ropes. But this rope I found to be, for the money, it's like $12 a rope for like a good speed rope that's got some bearings. And it came with 2 ropes, didn't it?
Each package? Cables, yeah.
Yeah, 2 cables, 1 set of handles, and I mean, it comes even with a bag, and it was I think they're $11.99 a piece. What I'm seeing on Amazon right now, a lot of people go out and spend $40, $50 on a jump rope, and I'm not saying those aren't gonna be elevated, but I've bought a couple ropes in the $30, $40 range, and I was just as happy with this 5 billion. The brand is 5 billion. I don't get it. I don't really understand, but. The brand is 5 Billion. They've got speed ropes perfect for what you're looking for in CrossFit. They got different handles. They've got the bigger, thicker handles, which I think are better probably for some newer people. Gives a little more weight in their hands. And then they got the smaller, faster handles for somebody that's maybe a little bit more, advanced in the double unders and triple unders and all that stuff.
And let's be clear, jump roping is not. I mean, this is. We said CrossFitters. We use jump ropes obviously all the time.
Right.
But in terms of just a good fitness thing, if you don't have access to a gym or you don't have that much money to spend, jump roping is a great way to get in shape. I mean, it's low impact, so it's better than running in a way, and I think it works out more of your body than running. It's a full body workout. So
yeah, if you got a little small home gym and you don't have a jump rope, add that to your to your items, and you'll be able to mix those workups up a lot. And yeah, I mean, of course, like you said, CrossFit uses the jump ropes quite a bit, but this isn't just for CrossFit. If you're looking for a good rope, hell, they even got the ones with the thicker handles are only $9.99. The speed ropes are $11.99. So, like I said, I thought I'd throw that out there. It's Christmas time. You might have a friend or a white elephant gift party coming up pretty soon or something. Jump rope is something somebody's always looking for. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, any jump rope, I don't care how much you spend on it, the cable's going to go at some point. You're beating it into the ground. So you're always looking for a jump rope. You spend $180 on a jump rope, or you spend this $12.99 on a jump rope, they're going to break at some point. And that's another thing. These ropes have held up really well within the gym. We actually use it as our gym rope. So if somebody doesn't have one, that's what they grab. We haven't had any issues with it now for a couple months. So, and trust me, I've went through a lot of different ropes as a gym owner. This one has been the best bang for our buck so far. So those are a couple, maybe a couple things that'll help you with your fitness and health this 2020. We take one more break.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, well, we're going to take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some money things in 2020 that could help you maybe just save a couple extra bucks. All right, we'll be right back.
All right, guys, before we get back into the podcast, I just want to let you guys know that we do have a Patreon account for those of you who want to support the Olympian Project and what we are trying to accomplish here. Go to patreon.com/Olympian Project. There you'll be able to access bonus content such as monthly bonus episodes of the podcast, plus a few other perks like being able to listen to the podcast a day early and shout-outs in the podcast as well as Q&A priority. And if you want to support the podcast for free, and I'm going to stress that it's free, to go to iTunes and leave us a review, leave us a rating. It helps us out a lot. Thank you guys so much, and let's get back into the episode.
So, money might be on your mind for 2020. Now, I'm no financial advisor. Gary, how about you?
I am 18 years old, so, that should tell you
He's
everything you need to know.
absolutely not a financial advisor. Doesn't mean we don't have a couple tips. And what I'm talking about is more or less like there's money out there to be like had. You're going to spend money, and there's a couple ways to get some money back on what you spent. So I'm not going to dive into like you should have an Edward Jones account and what kind of savings accounts and what stocks to invest in. Don't listen to me on that. But I have been fairly successful using a couple apps towards the end of this year and found that they're legit because I think there's a lot of stuff out there marketed like, you know, get us 500 members and you'll get $10 back. Like, that sounds like you're going to make money, but go make somebody 500 members would be ridiculous. So, anyway, one of the biggest apps that I found worked the best, and this is something that almost everybody, now if you live probably inner city or you take an Uber to work or you have, you know, bus or train or something like that, this won't, or subway, this won't apply to you so much. But if you own a car, this is a no-brainer to get and download. And this app is called the Get Upside app.
Yes, you're very passionate about this.
Man, I am. And it's not, you know what, to be honest, yes, I have a referral code. I'm going to give you that referral code. And the best it's going to do is we're both going to get a 15-cent bonus on the next fill-up. Okay, so if you use this referral code 8WXMG, you're going to get 15 cents off that first first fill-up to your whole car. So Get Upside tells you what gas stations there are in your area and how much you're going to get back if you go to that gas station. It might be 6 cents. It might be 20 cents. It might be 15 cents. You're also going to throw 15 cents on top of whatever that is. That's the cool part. Now, I will say this. I don't use it every time. It depends on the area I'm in. And sometimes the gas station is more expensive than the money back that I'm going to get, and there's a better rate down the road. I'm going to use that gas station. But we all, if you have a car, we all buy gas. It, to me, is a no-brainer. I've had it for half a year, and I've got about $165 in that account. And just waiting, $165. And I'm literally going to buy gas every day that I need to. And nobody's giving me money back for that. Why not? Not every gas station's on there. You might have your favorite. You might have to switch up your routine a little bit. But if you are at all, like that's $165 that I can go get a couple Christmas presents with. Or if we go to Lake Charles or we go take a trip somewhere, like who doesn't want some vacay money? And this was just about not even a half a year I earned that. And I wasn't even really trying to earn it a whole lot. Like I would use it here and there. The point is, I was going to get that gas money, or I was going to spend that money anyway. Now I've got $165 back on it.
Yeah.
Gary, what do you drive?
Well, my car's broken down right now.
So he's not using gas right now.
But I just, just to clarify, this is not something we're sponsored by. So Justin here, he's really passionate about this.
I really am, though, because
he talks about it all the time.
I do. And the thing is, like I said, there is like this whole affiliate thing. Like, cool, I gave you my code. Outside of that, I'm going to get the 15-cent bonus just like you, but I think it's just a no-brainer. Yeah. If you're buying gas, gas can be expensive. Why wouldn't you get the money back? And I am passionate about that. And I've got members here, and I am passionate about people improving their situation. In 2020, I guarantee you, if you use this app, you're going to have money back in your pocket to do whatever you want with. And like he said, we're not sponsored by Get Upside.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're listening, Get Upside, maybe we can make a deal. But in all reality, man, I love the app. I just love it.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, he genuinely does.
Yeah. Another app that I found useful. I don't probably make as much money on this one, but I could. I'm not the huge grocery shopper, but Ibotta. Ibotta is an app that you pretty much buy anything with a receipt, grocery-wise. They're going to give you some money back on certain items. It's basically like a rebate app. Like an app that's giving you rebates on certain products. So I'm sure the companies of those products are putting money into them to, push you towards those items. But again, I don't change my grocery list, but if it happens to be on there and they're going to give me $1 back for a $2.50 popcorn box, why don't I go get the $1? Yeah. They make it real easy now, too, because all you got to do is scan a receipt, and it'll tell you if anything on there is got a rebate. So again, it's very convenient. It's money that I'm going to go buy what I'm going to go buy. But if they're going to give me money back anyway, why not go get it?
Yeah. And I think I don't know much. I don't have the app. I don't know much about it. But doesn't it work on some online stores too?
Yeah, that's another big thing. Like if you're going to shop on Amazon, if you're going to shop on, some of these stores like Nike online, like you can go click the app first and it'll shoot you over to that site or the app. Like Amazon's got a app, right? So you can click in Ibotta Amazon. It'll shoot you over there. Anything that you buy, you usually get a percentage back of what you purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Groupon's another one. I will go into my Ibotta app first. Click Groupon, anything I purchased in there, it was giving me a percentage back depending on the items that I bought.
Yeah.
I easily put back, on a purchase on Groupon, $4 or $5 at a time. Right now I got in Ibotta about $25.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that one less than I had Get Upside, only like a couple months now. And it's not every time I go to the grocery store I'm going to get some money back. But again, $20, $25, eventually have a certain number. I'm going to be able to cash out and go, get all my groceries for free, basically.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you? And also on Get Upside, too, they also have restaurants. Now, it's nothing that I would probably suggest. It's mostly just fast food in our area, but I know other cities, they have restaurants on there. And
get that Popeye special.
Yeah, well, you know what? I know Burger King was on ours in this area, and they'll give you up to 35% back on whatever you spend, up to $20. Yeah. So you literally can get $7 back on a $20 purchase. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then I think another one we want to talk about was Honey. Obviously, there are a lot of podcasts that have sponsored by Honey, but we're not, sadly. We will accept a sponsorship from Honey because I do like Honey. But if you're shopping online, use Honey. It's a free browser extension. It'll
you gotta
give
be on
you
your
code.
Computer, right?
They do have an app.
Okay.
But if you're shopping online, use Honey. It's simple. You download it for free. Again, we're not sponsored, but it'll give you codes. You get cash back. It's a great app to use. And
it's put on your browser, right? So
yes.
Anytime you go to if you go to Target.com, it'll tell you what deals there are. Okay.
Yeah, and then going back to reading books, if in 2020 you're looking to improve your financial life and you want to spend better, you want to live better, read any finance book that you can find. Just go on Google top finance books, and you'll find a ton of good books online. And there's the one that I recommended, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which again is something that's on my to-read list. That's a great one to read. It's going to be recommended to you on at least one of those lists that you look up.
Yeah, so those are just small things, I think. Like I said, we weren't going to have any tricks of the trade to invest into this stock and you're going to become a millionaire because we probably wouldn't tell you.
Unless you want to invest in the Olympian project.
That's probably going to make you a lot of money.
We heard something
in the grapevine that Olympian project was going to shoot through the roof this year. And the reason is because of that first bonus episode that's coming out.
Yeah.
Soon.
If you wanna support the podcast, go to patreon.com/Olympian Project. Get access to some bonus content and a few other perks. That was a clean segue, I must say. We did not plan that.
Yeah, that was like Windex clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but in all reality, these are just some small things. Like I said, who doesn't need a couple extra $100?
Yeah.
I plan on Get Upside. Based on that rate, I mean, I should by the end of next year, at the end of 2020, have $400 or $500 just accumulated through that year. So,
and just to let you guys know, anything that we have talked about in this episode, we're gonna try and get pretty much everything plugged in the description with links, so you can go check it out. You don't have to go Googling. You just check out our links, and it's right there for you if you're interested in any of the stuff that we talked about, any of the books, any of the apps. It's all right there in the description.
Yeah, and always, of course, DM us any questions on that stuff. If you've got, the listeners got anything to suggest to us so we can pass that along, like, of course, what we're suggesting are just a few of the ideas, but we'd love to hear what y'all have got for 2020 this year and, see if that might be something we want to use as well. So think that's going to wrap up episode 6 this week, and Christmas is next week. So
we're getting ready to roll into the new year.
Yeah.
Excited. It's going to be a good year. I have a feeling.
2020. Olympian Project 2020. Here we go. All right. Until next week, be a beast and charge your Olympian.
And get some yeast.
Erase that. All right. We'll see y'all.